Hey guys, it's Akari, and in this video, I want to talk about why you need to focus on one business, selling one product, one service, and forget everything else. This is by far the number one reason why I see entrepreneurs making no more than a couple $1,000s per month, find it hard to grow their business. They might feel like they're doing the right things every day, but they just struggle to attract clients and get sales. So that's what I'm going to cover in this video. Now, I've been in the same situation before. A few years ago when I was an entrepreneur just starting out, I was stuck. I was trying to focus on so many different businesses and nothing was working. But as soon as I went all in on one thing, that's when everything changed for me. And only within a few months, I was making $20,000, $30,000 per month. And after that, it just kept on going and kept on, scaling. So let's get into the video. Now, the first point I want to cover is why you need to focus on one offer, no more, no less. Now, what do I mean by no more, no less? Well, no less as in don't have no offer at all and don't have no product or service that you're selling by trying to perfect it and not even starting in the first place. I see so many people just get stuck on that. Like they always say, I don't know what to sell, or, how do I start? That's what they always say. But this is, in a way, just their own beliefs that they need to be perfect at the beginning, but you don't. And you can start with anything, because even if it's not the right product and not the perfect thing for you, at least by starting, you're going to get your feet wet and you're going to start to be able to build like the website. You're going to start to put systems in place that you wouldn't have otherwise. So that's why it's so important to just get started, number one. And when I say no more than one, is as soon as you start to kind of dilute your time, attention, and energy and distribute it to multiple different things, whether you want to be selling multiple services like copywriting, video editing, AI automation, whatever it is, as soon as you start to dilute your attention, that's when things can kind of go downhill, because the person who needs video editing is going to be different to the person who needs copywriting or AI automation. So that's why it's so important to just focus on selling one thing, because when you have multiple offers, you have multiple messages going out to the marketplace, and it's really not targeting anybody, which will result in no sales. The second point is, when you're targeting everyone, you're really targeting no one. Let's use a metaphor like a restaurant, right? So if you have a restaurant that's selling my favorite foods, for example, Italian, Japanese, and Mexican, well, that restaurant is kind of not really specialized in anything, and I won't feel the need to go there because I don't really know what they're good at, if they're just going to be selling all types of food. But if there's a specialized Italian restaurant that is, Italian owned, operated, they only sell Italian food, they're the best at what they do, they have a family recipe that they've passed down or whatever, that is really attractive to me because I love Italian food, and that's going to make me want to go there because I know they're so good at that compared to the restaurant that is just selling like all the types of foods. So that's one example. So by selling one thing and focusing on one offer, not only are you going to attract more of the audience that you want, but you're also going to, kind of push away the people that you don't want. So back to that restaurant example of Italian food, right? It's only going to attract people who love Italian food, and people who don't and maybe like some different type of food, they're not going to go to that restaurant because it's not for them. So number one, you're going to build authority because you're going to be the person who's the best at what they do. By focusing on one offer, one skill, you can refine it and you can improve your processes and get better with more clients and more customers. But the benefit of this is that you can gain feedback from every single customer you get and constantly improve on that offer. Now, for the restaurant, like the Italian restaurant, they can ask the customers if they liked it and if the pizza was, warm enough, if there was enough cheese, tomato, and they can keep refining that and get better than every other Italian restaurant on the market. And you're not only going to get a lot of customers coming to you, but you're going to get a lot of reviews. And if you do a good job at delivering your service, then you're going to stack up a bunch of customer testimonials, and this is going to be super beneficial to you to go out and get more customers. So you're going to attract more customers, you're going to be better at what you do because you're constantly refining your offer and your product, your service, and you're going to stack up a bunch of testimonials to go out and get more customers. Compared to the person who's focused on selling multiple things, they don't know who they're targeting, they're not going to attract anyone because no one wants everything. They're usually trying to solve a problem, which is one problem that they're looking for a solution. Now, the third point is when you're selling multiple things, you're not really going to reach the point of critical mass, which is when things really start to pick up for you, where you start to get clients. It's a scientific term, you can look it up, but it's really when the things start to happen for you and business starts to grow. So I like to use the example of having a flashlight versus a laser. A laser will cut through everything and it will be the most direct, the one with the most impact, whereas a flashlight is kind of like broad and general and doesn't have much power to it. And one cool example that I like to talk about is MMA, so mixed martial arts, specifically UFC. So this is actually my favorite sport and I've been watching for like 15 years. If you look at their top athletes and the greatest of all time, they are usually specialized on one specific martial art. So although the sport itself actually has many different forms of martial arts like kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, I can go on, like so many different sports, the person who is usually the best is kind of focused on one. Like let's look at Khabib, for example. He was undefeated, 29-0, retired from the sport, and he essentially focused on wrestling and he was all in on wrestling his whole life. Like there's a video of him wrestling a bear when he's like 5 years old, and he kind of just constantly refined that skill set over decades, literally, and became the best in the world at it and will forever be remembered as one of the greatest fighters of all time. And there was another superstar in the UFC called Conor McGregor, and no one really could match his striking. He had such elite level of boxing and striking. Although he lacked in other areas like wrestling and on jiu-jitsu, he made up for it and more because he was so good at knocking people out. So that's just an example to show you, like, as soon as you go deep onto one thing, you can really become the best. Now, the next point I want to cover is the 80-20 rule, which you may have heard of before. So how does this relate to your business? Well, 80% of your revenue will actually come from one offer anyway. So there's really no point in diluting your focus and attention. Now, the next point is you got to realize that you have a constraint in terms of time and energy. And that's not you specifically, that's every single human on earth. So your constraint is your execution capacity. We all have limited time and energy. So everyone has 24 hours in a day, but it's how we use them that will determine how well our business does. And that's why you need to stop splitting your attention, your focus, and just put it all to one place. And as soon as you do that, you're going to notice like so much growth, so much progress in your business because all your mind and attention's going to one thing. So you probably know by now that you need to focus on one business and sell one thing, but you don't know how to choose what to sell, right? Well, what you need to do is pick the most urgent, the most painful problem that you have skill set in and can help people with. That is going to be the one you should start with and focus on. So I want you to commit for the next 90 days and sell one product or service. Forget everything else and let me know how it goes for you. But the most important thing for you to remember is you don't need multiple products and services to scale to multi-six figures. All you need is just one and be the best at it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to work with me, you can actually click the link in the description down below. Other than that, please like, subscribe, and see you on the next one.